Hi, I'm Greg Haw, and I am going to go over the basics of our task management system. So this task system that I developed a while back has been a lifesaver for me a million times over. If you have a lot of different types of tasks, how do you manage it? How do you remember everything? How do you prioritize your tasks? So we have drag and drop sorting to make it easy. How do you see a task and have attachments, embedded videos at your fingertips while you are analyzing your task? How does your manager monitor your prioritized tasks and attachments, etc.? This user-friendly task system has this and more, but we're just going to go over the basics of our task management system. So without further ado, let me click on our staging acceptance testing site. It's going to bring up our login screen. I can log in with my user ID and password, but I'm also set up to log in with my IP address. So I'll click on IP login. It says you logged in successfully with your IP, so I'll go ahead and click the OK button. So under the My Task header is our task system. So in this task system, we're going to go over how I manage my tasks in the PSPE system. So PSPE, right here, our PSPE system, is a way of managing comments coming from students' preceptors. So again, under my task header, I am going to click on Task Grid Manager. So here are our task items. So before you create task records, you have to have categories. So over here, let me go to our categories right here, categories interface. So for PSPE, I created 4 categories. So I have PSP website. That's where Catherine and the program directors manage the comments. We have PSPE SIS exception. So SIS stands for Student Information System. So SIS, what they do is they pull the PSP comments from our OEIS database to display in their site for School of Pharmacy students. So I have a category for that. I have a category for PSP OEIS databases. So we have in OEIS a development, staging, and production database servers. We also have a Dean's Office database servers as well. That's where the website resides in. And we have PSPE SSIS. So SIS stands SIS, not to be confused with SIS, which is Student Information System. SIS stands for SQL Server Integration Services. So it's an ETL, like Tableau Prep. So it's a way for us to pull data, like we have these packages, it pulls data from other database servers such as EDW, which is the Education Warehouse. It pulls data from the eValue database, which has student profile information. And then there's a package that merges those two items, EDW and eValue, together in our PSPE database. And then we have a package that syncs the PSPE database table with our Dean's Office website. So it syncs that and it does a push and pull. So yeah, so these are our 4 PSPE categories. And what you can do here, we have sorting here in categories where you can sort it the way you want to look at it. So let me put it back the way I had it because I have it a certain way, but there's drag and drop sorting. So these are our categories here. So let's go back to our task grid. So how do you add a task? So in our top menu bar, I can go to create task with this big plus sign, click on that. And we have our drop down. Remember our categories here. Notice what I can do with my drag and drop sorting. With categories, I can drag all the PSPE categories on top, make sure they're here so I can see it right away. I can select a category, a PSP category. We have tasks, we have notes, we have a resolution. If you have a resolution to your task, you can enter stuff here. We have status, we have pending, completed, ongoing, non-applicable. We have level of importance, high, medium, low, non-applicable. There's stuff here. These are called references. We have attachments where you can choose files and give it a description here. And then click on create to create your task. So that's how you create a task. So let's go back to our task grid right here. So what should we talk about next? So again, here are our task items here. So one of the important features is sorting, drag and drop sorting in our task to prioritize our task. So in this top menu bar, I am going to click on Sort Prioritize. So this is a really important feature. This has helped me out 1,000 times over. So I can say, hey, this is really important. Now this is more important. This, I got to prioritize my task. I got to put this up here. Maybe this isn't as important. I could put this down here. So you can prioritize your task. Let me put it back the way it was. So this is really helpful because, for example, if you complete your task, you're probably going to drag it down, right? Because you already finished it. It's not priority anymore. So my task priorities can change, day to day, actually. So drag and drop sorting is an awesome feature for me. It's really helpful. So let's go back to our task grid. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is the ability for managers to look at your tasks. So if you're an admin, you can look at other people's tasks and read only. In fact, let me log out of here and let me go in as Cynthia. She is the director of OEIS. So our naming convention for our user ID is last name, concatenated with the first letter of your first name, and your password. So notice Cynthia doesn't see as many columns as I did, so I can set it up so she only sees columns that she needs to see. So again, it's less busy. So let me go to her task system here. Let's go to the first one, Task Grid Manager. So if she's an admin, she can see other people's tasks. She can see mine. Notice I have multiple Gregory Halls because you can have multiple user IDs. So that's really helpful. For example, when I worked for epidemiology, I was working 50% for them. So I had a task system for epidemiology. I had a user ID for that, and I had a user ID for school pharmacy, which you see here. So you can have a dedicated task system at your user ID. So it's at the user ID level. So you can have multiple task systems, right? Pretty cool. I think that's really helpful. So I definitely needed it when I was working for epidemiology and school pharmacy in order to remember all my tasks. So here, let's say I'm Cynthia. I need to look at here, Hall G. This is she can click here and look at this. And she can look at my tasks. Usually you're going to put your tasks in priority order. Your most important, or what's in priority, you're going to put on top. She can see that. And here's our flyout menus. There's attachments here, for example. She can look at this and say, hey, I want to look at Greg's attachments on sizing PSP projects. I can click here. It's going to bring up this Excel file, which it did. It's bringing it up right now, which you can see right here. Voila. So she can look at what I'm doing here when I size PSP. Yeah, so you can do stuff. She can see the stuff like this. Let's go back to this task listing. Voila. So this is really helpful, I think, would be helpful for Cynthia because she can see what her staff is doing, right? At a glance, right? She can look for it. It's at her fingertips. I mean, if I went back to the task grid, she can look for everybody's tasks here, Alexa or James Ferguson, and see what they're doing. So you can do stuff like that. Let's go back. Let me log out of here and go back to me. Again, I can log in with my IP address, so click OK, voila. Here I am, task grid. So what's next? Let's talk about filtering or sorting. So in any column, you can sort or filters. So for example, let's just take something here. If I click here on this column here, it's going to sort in ascending order. Click it again, it's descending order. Click it again, it's the way it was before. You can filter on any column. I can click here and filter on, how about anything that contains, this is my favorite, contains. I'll just put PSPE for the category column. PSPE, it's not case sensitive. Click on filter, so right now it just gave me all my PSPE records. If if I want all my records back, I'll just click on reload. And you can also use something called save grid state, reset grid state. So what does that mean? That means if I filter on some, I can save my grid state, leave this page, go somewhere else, and look at another link or interface, come back here, it's going to remember my filtered grid state, and if I want everything back, I just click on reset grid state. So you can do stuff like this. Notice here you can export to Excel, PDF. You can have groupings here, so you just drag any header here in here, and you can see groupings. So that's pretty helpful. So let's look at something here. Let's look at, how about this guy here? This has 5 attachments, 8 event logs in one website. But you go to your flyout menu, so there's flyout menus on each record. Saves a lot of real estate. It's pretty cool. How about going to detail here? So if you go to detail, and I'm analyze, this is read only, detail. So this is form view, so I'm analyzing this task on SIS exceptions. I have my attachments at my fingertip. I can just click here. So this attachment is what Kevin from SIS sent us. This is an ERD view, and it's joined by the student GC ID. So I can tell just by this at a glance that what SIS looks at, or how they pull OEIS data. I can just see what they see and what they can't see. Notice when I look at their views, I don't see reveal status here, so they don't see that. So this is really helpful because this tells me what SIS sees and what they don't see. So you can have stuff like that. What else? Let's go to something else. How about notes? Notes is pretty cool. So with notes, when you use, it's an editor, you can do really cool stuff with this. You can have tables, word tables, and one thing slick about this, if you have links to videos like YouTube videos, it automatically embeds these videos. And one thing really slick about YouTube now is that you can have most chapters. I can, for example, let's show more, I can have chapter timelines. For example, I can go to anywhere here, like notifications, click here. Catherine had me to that topic of interest or concern. So you can, so this is perfect for documentation, right? You don't have to sit through the whole videos. You can look through this menu or table of content, click on a timeline, and go directly to the topic of concern or interest. So let's close this. Oh, let me show you something here. I think this is really cool. This is what Christine did in our patient case bank system. Let me show you this really quick. My favorite one right here on notes, she has 6 attachments here. So notice, pretty cool, she has all these tables. She's really good with this. And you have your attachments. You can come here and you can just click on an attachment, you know, while you're analyzing this. Yeah, I have no clue what this means, but yeah, pretty slick. Again, she goes to Microsoft Word and she does a copy and paste, and then with this editor, she even makes it look prettier. So pretty cool. So this is Christine. She used to be a PharmD student here at UCSF. She graduated already. She pretty much designed this system. So yeah, pretty cool. So you can do a lot of cool stuff with this editor. So I use that as my notes right here. Let's go to Test Grid Manager. So for this, again, you can have, it says it has 5 attachments. It gives my description. You can do emailing. There's emailing. Notice you have your attachments here. These are called references. If you want to have your attachment, you just check here. You may say, hey, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this. Or here's your toggle. You can uncheck or check them all. You uncheck, check them all, uncheck. You might say, hey, I want this guy and this guy only. And you can choose files from your hard drive. Notice it populates all the fields for you. You can add more stuff here, and then send it to your colleague or upper management. Pretty helpful, I think. Again, did I say you can choose files from your hard drive as well, right here. Let's go back to our task grid. What else do we have to cover here? So you can go to your flyout menu to go to different selections here, interfaces, or right here. These are event logs. Again, you can go to your flyout menu to get to that interface, or you just click right there on Gidok. So these are like meetings I've had. like meetings with the SIS programmers here. Yes, and how they were able to tell me how to how exceptions occur, or they kind of showed me what they can see. So from that I was able, and what they can't see. So from that I was able to tell how exceptions can occur, and I was able to look at our view and stuff. And then I had meetings with our OEIS team, and to explain that, to go over that. Notice that, so these are the number of hours I spent on each of these meetings, 7.5 hours for exceptions. You can have a graph here, monthly hours spent. So it says on October, had 5 hours. On November, I had 2 hours. And December, just about half an hour. I'm going to have another pretty long meeting on going over exceptions to our algorithms. So let's close this guy. And what else is there to talk about? Task grid. Did I cover mostly everything? We can, okie doke. I think I did. I think I covered everything that's really important. Trying to look and see if I missed anything. Pretty cool. I think that's it. I think that's it. So let me go back home. You can have graphs. Here it just shows that I had 6 tasks items here on PSP website, followed by PSP OEIS databases. So this is me, the bar, versus everyone else, all users, the dual axis. You can look at this in 2 lines, dual axis with 2 lines right here, or multi-axis with a bar line. Pretty cool. So you can do stuff like that. There's a lot of features, but I think I went over the basic features. So this has been a lifesaver for me. I don't know what I would have done without this task management system. So I hope this makes sense. So anyone from OEIS, our OEIS team working on PSPE, has access to this. So I use the task system in staging. So you may be, the OEIS team probably doesn't go to staging as much as me. They may be going to OEIS, so they might want to use the task system there. So they're separate entities right there. But I use the task management system for PSPE in staging. So I hope this makes sense. Hope this can be helpful for you guys. Yeah, thanks for watching.